Hey, how's it going, people? In this video, we'll be cloning a section of the Voltz.xyz landing page. And the reason I chose this specific website for this video is I feel it checks every box of what a modern slash futuristic Web3 website or Web3 UI should look like. I mean, let's just take a look at some of its features, right? It uses a retro video game kind of style fonts everywhere. The color theme with a dark background, a bright pink primary color on the buttons, some hover effect with the same color as well. Also, this kind of like a pulse animation right there. And you know what the coolest part of this website is? Take a look at this. The more you scroll, you'd see like the background shapes move all around. They'd rotate, they'd grow, they'd move apart everywhere, like down here as well. Look at this, right? The background shapes and right here as well. Feel it simply has everything you could ask for in a Web3 website. And in this video, we will clone everything that you see right now. The navigation bar with some effects right there, hover effects, this marquee right there with real-time crypto prices that will fetch from CoinGecko, and this hero section where when you scroll, this animation effect will happen as well. And lastly, this footer as well with again the same kind of effects as the hover effects as the top. I will put a GitHub link for the entire code base, which will have everything in the description. But for now, we will build this part right there. Yeah, I am very excited to build it out from scratch with you all, and let's get started. All right, so like always, go into your projects directory, create a new folder for this project. I called mine Voltz clone. Inside of it, open your terminal. So once you have this open, for this project, I will be using Next.js alongside with TypeScript. I've never done TypeScript on my YouTube before, so I will be doing it for this video. So to do that, going to like the next docs, you can copy this command or type it in, but it will give you like a TypeScript template to start with. Once that's installed, we will be using Material UI as a design library. But one second, proceed, yes. What's your app name? I'm going to do dit to tell it install it in the current directory and not create a folder called my app. But let's do that. I don't want to use it right now. I don't want to use Tailwind, no. I don't want to put everything in the source. I'll do that myself. I don't want to do that as well. Let's just press enter. All right. So while that's installing, we'll be using Material UI for this project. And we'll install one external library, which is this one right there, React Farce Marquee, which kind of gives us the same marquee. It's like a marquee tag in HTML, but this allows us to control the speed. It has some optimizations as well, so we'll be using this one. But let's have that's installed. That's done. And open your Material UI docs overview. No installation. Copy this. Paste it in. I'll install one more thing as well, which is the icons. So copy that. Actually, for Next.js, you might need one or two more things just to like server-side render the styles. So go into example projects and select Next.js TypeScript version. I will go to package.json, and in there, let's install emotion cache as well. I don't think that's there. Yeah, so emotion cache and emotion server. All right. Yeah, that's all. Press enter and let that install. So that's installed. I forgot to install this package right there, so copy this as well, paste it in there, and that shouldn't take long. So done. Finally, I'm going to open my project in VS Code. If you don't have that, use any code editor of your choice. But code, open this project. I'm going to close this and drag it over right there. So we have our starter project done. I will open the terminal here and do an npm run dev. Let's see if that works. Okay, open this there. And we have our project running. So we have started. Next thing, what you want to do is set up our Material UI theming, our folder structure, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, so what you want to do first is let's clean up everything that we don't need. So under pages and app.tsx, I will leave this the way it is right now, but for the globals.css, let's go into styles, globals. I will get rid of everything and just have a margin of 0. So some older browsers, like an older version of Chrome or Firefox, by default add some little margin at the top of the browser. So just by default, let's get rid of every margin globally and save it. That's all. We don't need the home.module.css as well, so I'm going to delete that and we'll have an error. So under the index.tsx, I will just do an rafce, call it home, save. Part of the rafce is an extension that I'm using, which is called, uh, is it, yeah, right, it's right, this one. So it kind of gives you like snippets that you can like just be faster with really. But yeah, so homes, let's save it, let's see what we get. Um, Let me open localhost 3000 and we should see the home text, which is right there. So also let me increase the font size. How do I do that? I'm not sure. I think it's Control plus. Yeah, Control plus. And let me also like decrease the transparency as well, so you can see the background. There we go. And for the background as well, it's another extension called Glass something. It's called Glass. It's, I think, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, there we go. So if you press Control Alt and X, you can kind of like make it transparentish kind of thing. But let's save that. What you want to do next as well is back to this Material UI starter project. Let's copy a couple things, right? So go under source. Um, let's wait. Yeah, let's do a project structure first actually. So I'll create a new folder called source. Inside of it, let's create a new folders. Some stuff that we might need later. So components. We'll need assets. We will need I don't know if we'll need assets, but maybe utils. I probably won't use half of this, but we'll see what we need, and if we don't, we'll delete it. Config for the theme configuration, that we'll need for sure. And then what else will we need? We will need hooks. So we'll create one specific hook for like the scrolling hook. So to get where we are on the page, remember how when you scroll, the background object moves? So just to know where we are on the page and how much you scrolled, we'll create a hook for that. Um, what else do we need? We will need a container, and I'm going to explain why we'll need a container. For this one right here, I'll divide everything on our website into containers. So for myself, the way I like using containers is a container is a list or one or more components inside of it, right? So I'll have a container. For example, this will be a section 1, or maybe like the marquee will be section 1. This will be a section 2. In the code base, in the description, there'll be a section 3, 4, 5, and so on. So maybe 6, 7, 8, 9, and so on, right? But I'll divide everything into sections. So for this one, we'll have a section 1 and section 2 probably, right? Let's do the theme first, right? So under the theme, go back to this example project, going to source theme.ts. Inside of it, I don't think we'll need all of it, so let's create one. Let's just copy this and then delete what we don't need. So config, called new folder called theme. Inside of it, I'll create a new folder called index.ts. Paste that in. I don't need. We'll actually create custom typography as well, right? So delete that. We don't need the red again. The primary color that we'll use is this one right there. I don't need a custom arrow color. The typography will be empty for now. We'll add some more stuff. Inside the secondary, I'm going to copy and paste this, right? A couple things actually. Are there. So first of all, mode dark. So that will change the application to dark mode. And then from then, I'm going to copy everything. So all of this, I'll delete it, paste it, and just pause the video, paste all of this in. So the primary color will have like 3 different kind of colors. One is the main, one is the lights, and one is maybe a contrast text that we'll need. For the secondary, again, a main, a lights color. For the text as well, by default, the text will be white. We'll change it to kind of like a whitish gray. And the secondary text will be kind of like a darker gray maybe compared to this one right there. Um, for the typography, let's save this for now. Let's save this for now. Save it for now. For the typography, remember we want to like import the custom font, right? To do that, go into Google and then let's see what fonts they use. If I just select any fonts, copy this font right there, and then going to Google, download free, and then if you just go into this link, I think that should be it. Just download it. Yeah, if you download it, it'll give you like the entire fonts family. Save it, and when you open, we'll only need maybe 2 of them, right? Actually, this one doesn't. So I'll go to my GitHub, and you'll see it there. But one of these links actually gives you the entire family. I think, yeah, this one. So download the first one, right? The first one and the bold. We'll just need these 2 for now. Probably if you want to use more, you can. But for now, you just need this 2, and download it, and we'll like put it in a folder like later. But going back to the theme, right? Save this. Go into this project again, the Next.js starter. Copy this, right? So create emotion cache. I'll copy this. Actually, I'll copy the entire file and then paste it in my project folder. So under the theme, paste it in, and it's the exact same thing as the GitHub. And basically, this kind of gives you like emotion cache where on Next.js, because like the web page is coming from the server as well, it won't create a flicker of what the default theme is. By default in the browser it's a light theme, so it won't create kind of like a flicker, and it will like import every theme. Yeah, it will just like save every theme into the cache. If you don't have this, and if you like go into, if you actually create your website, you will see like once you refresh the window, there's going to be slightly like a flicker where the theme isn't loaded in, right? So that fixes it. And then go into, let's copy the app.js. So no, pages, actually document.js first, so copy that, and then go to your pages document, paste that in, save it. Hope no errors. Right here we have an error, so let's import it from somewhere, right? So where does it come from? I can do that. Source slash config slash theme, and then we don't need the robots font, right? So where is robots being used? We don't need that. And then in here, same thing again. So paste it there. Before you save it, you'll get an error. So going to app.js and copy the app.js here as well, or the tsx. So just copy it, paste, and we might need to fix that again. So let me copy this. Oh wait, it's config slash theme slash create emotion cache. So save, and then inside the app.tsx, paste that in. Since it's index.tsx, we don't need to like import the index, but paste that in, save, and I think we should be ready with our theme, right? So if I go here, we have the dark theme, which is the exact same color as this one. We have the home written, and we have imported our theme. Finally, we want to import the fonts, right? So under, I guess I'll do it inside the public. So under the public, I'm going to copy 2 fonts. Actually, I'll copy a fonts folder, copy, public, paste it in. And then for the fonts, I've downloaded those 2 fonts, so here they are. And also, I also downloaded the logo as well. So right click on this logo, save it, right click on this logo, save it, or get it from my GitHub again. But for the logo as well, I will copy and paste 2 things. So inside the public, just paste that in, close this, and the logo itself as well. So copy, where's the public? Let's paste it in, paste, so close it. All right, so I think that's all we'll need for now, but let's actually use that font itself, right? So to use that font, I will go into my globals again. We'll have to import it in 2 places. So one, do it inside the globals. So I'll copy this here, paste it there, right? And all I'm doing right now is setting the fonts family and then importing both the fonts, right? One is the regular one and one is the bold one. Make sure you do it in this order, or else like the regular one is what the default font will be for the website. And then let's just make sure the font weight is normal, the font style is normal as well. I don't think these are necessary, but I got this from Stack Overflow. But yeah, save it, close it, and under our theme as well. Okay, I think it should be there. Under our theme, inside the typography, let's do a fonts family. So fonts family, and then you can either do a string, or since we're using a secondary font as well, I'll just paste that in. And all this will do is, if you go back here and look at this font, it uses 2, right? So pixel, mono, and sans serif as well. So I'll replace that. Okay, so I'll just take the array and join it with a comma, which will give us the exact same string as this. So you can use as many secondary fonts as you want. Save it, and if I go back here, I hope, nope, this didn't work. And why is that? Let me restart my project. So npm run dev. I think my globals is fine. Am I importing the globals actually? I don't think I'm importing the globals. Oh no, I'm not. So let's import the globals. So um, it should be at where's styles? Oh yeah, there we go. Styles slash. Okay, didn't give us the so globals.css. Let's save that. Hopefully no errors. And there we go. Our font has changed. If you look, take a look at that. It's kind of really small. It has changed though. Last thing again, I keep saying last thing so many times, but last thing again, I will import a couple like font sizes that we might need. So Material UI has fonts that go from body 2 and then body 1, which is a default, and then there's an H6, H5, all the way till H1, right? And before body 2 as well, there's another one called caption. But we'll create some custom fonts and I'll paste them in one by one, right? So for body 2, okay, but the default font size will be 14 and the default letter spacing will be 1. For body 1, I will do that as well. The default letter spacing would be 1.1. Okay, for I guess we'll leave H6, like whatever we'll need later. Oops. Whatever we'll need later, for example, like some of these headers, I will import that in. But let me do a few exact for now. So for H4 and H3, I know that that's being used somewhere in the project. That's fine. And let's save this for now. And then whatever we'll need to add, we'll add it. But that's our entire theme instance for now, or theme object for now. And we'll see what we need later. But close this. Go back to our index.tsx. Let's see if our app is running fine. It is, and yeah, that's it for like setting up the project. The next thing we'll do is actually set up our navbar, our footer, and our hero section as well. All right, so now I will create some kind of structure for our layout per se, but go back into the components, create a new folder, one for the navbar, another for the footer. We'll start with that for now. Inside of it, index.tsx. You could do this on the higher level as well, like navbar.tsx and footer.tsx, but I like doing it this way. And inside of it, index.tsx as well. rfce, which one is this? This is the footer. Footer, save, close. rfce, navbar, save, close. And then inside of it, I will do something, right? So let's bring in the navbar, and then let's bring in the footer. Oops, not that. I do not see it. Footer, save. Alright, so footer. Alright, save. Now we close it, save. So we should see the navbar, the footer components in the background. I will create the sections, right? So now this is where I'll go into like our container. I'll create one for the home. We only have a home page anyway, but I always like to arrange everything properly. So inside the home, I'll create one for section 1.tsx, which is going to be the marquee, and section 2.tsx, which is going to be the hero. It makes more sense to put them all in one, but I'll just separate them. So rfce, save, close, rfce, save, close. All right, and back here in the middle of it, I will do something, right? Section 1, bring that in, and then section 2, bring that in, save, and we should have a basic structure. So this is just like filling in the blanks. We're going to start filling in the blanks for the navbar, for the footer, for the section 1 and 2. So let's start with the navbar. All right, so let's start with the navbar. So go back to your code. Firstly, what I'll do is for every div, I'll replace it with a box, which is, there we go, import from Material UI. And what this is it's exactly a div that just gives us an SX prop, which is the styles prop, which are the emotion styles. So it's simply a div with just an extra like prop. but everywhere I'll be using box instead of div. So save that, but let's go into navbar now. Inside of the navbar, what I want to do is import the app bar from Material UI. Let's see if we can get that import this time. It didn't work. So app bar, oh, there we go, it worked. App bar, save it, and hopefully we should get some kind of a nav bar right there. All right, that worked. Let's start it now. So firstly, let's do an elevation. By default, Material UI adds some kind of box shadow to the app bar, so I want to get rid of that. Also, I want the position to be sticky, so let me do that first. So when we scroll, the nav bar shouldn't scroll with the page. Instead, it should stay with the page. Take a look at that, right? So it should stay on the page. But when we scroll, that should be it. Save this. One thing that I will do is under section 1, I'll do the box again, right? Box. Let's import. It didn't work again, so okay, box and SX. I'll just make it a really big height just so we can scroll on a page like for demo purposes. Why didn't that import again? My VS Code is really slow. Okay, import. All right, fine. So I'm going to say height equals to 200 view height, so double the screen size. So go back here and we should be able to scroll, right? All right, so for the nav bar, let's go back to styling it. Nav bar. All right, so SX, we got to do a couple things. So I'll have a padding of the x-axis as 3, a padding of the top as 2, and a padding of bottom as 2 as well. Save that. So you have this kind of bar. You can do py instead of pt and pb, but you'll see what I want to do. So next, I want to make the bg color as transparent. Okay, so no background on the nav bar. Next, I want to do a backdrop filter. Why don't I get the suggestions? Backdrop filter, and I'm going to make it blur of 8px. So save it and see what will happen. So basically, when it's on top of an element, the element behind will kind of blur out, right? So it doesn't have a background, but it kind of has a blur to it, right? So if you go back here, take a look at this. Do you see that blur at the background? So everything that's behind of it kind of blurs out, right? So that's there. Finally, what do I need to do? I think this should be it. I'll just do a py instead of maybe 2.5. Alright, so py of 2.5, and I think that's the perfect size. Next, inside of it, we have a left side and a right side, right? So I will create a stack, and what a stack is, let me do that. So stack, let me import it as well, stack. And basically what a stack is, it's just a div that is a display of flags, right? So you can put stuff side by side, you can arrange like space between each other, align it in the middle. If you don't know display of flags, I'd say you Google it because you'll use it quite a lot. But a stack is basically a div with a display of flags, right? So direction, so I'm going to set the flex direction is a row, so it's side by side and not up and down. I'm going to align the items to the center, so the left side and the right side should be equally aligned to the center. And then I'm going to justify the content to space between. So between the left and right side, there should be a space between of it, right? And then we'll see what we need. Maybe let's just give it a height of 100%. So SX height of 100%. All right, save. And inside of it, I'll just say left. I'll comment 2 comments, and right side. Left and right side. So for the left side, let's see what we need. For the left side, we actually need another stack, right? Which is like another stack, which is like items side by side. The first is the logo, and second is this pulse text. And for the right side, we need a stack as well, right? Which is a display of flags, which puts everything side by side to each other, right? So let's do that. So go back here. Let me scroll up. Okay, won't see anything for now, but let's scroll up. For the left side, the first thing is the logo, and the second thing is the pulse text, and let's try and fill those in. So for the logo, I'll use Material UI's image, say Next.js image. It will have a source. We'll import that source. The alternate text would be just logo, I guess. And then I'll do a style right here where I'll say the height of that logo should be 30 px, and it should object fit as contained to maintain the aspect ratio, right? All right, so we have to import the logo from somewhere. So I will go back here. Since our logo is inside the public, you can just do this. So import logo from, is it just public slash, is it public? Logo dot svg. I hope we don't get an error. I think this will work as well. I actually want to try that first. Paste, save. Okay, that didn't work. So let's do public. Nope. Oops. Save. Okay, that works. So we have the logo there. Let's do the pulse text now, right? So for the pulse text, I will. What? Let me open it. Let me see what we need, right? So we have some kind of an icon, which is kind of like a bullet icon, and then text next to it, right? So again, I will do a display of flex just to have the icon and the text next to it side by side and aligned to the center as well. So let's go to icons. Right there, much really UI icons. I'll search for bullet or maybe a circle, I guess. All right, we'll copy that. Let's import it. Let me put this in the background. Let's import that as well. And then for the pulse text, right? We'll do the text first and then we'll do the animation. So stack again. Um, you know what I just missed? You'll see what I missed. So inside of it, I'll put the circle icon first. Circle icon first. And then just a basic typography. Not sure why I'm not getting the imports. I'll just get that with TypeScript. I actually have to Google and see how to fix it. But inside of it, let's say resource center. Save it and see what we get. All right, it's compiling. Come on, quick. Save. That did not work. Oh wait, it went to the other end. Okay, so here's the thing, right? The reason it went to the other end is because we have a stack. Let me minimize some of this, right? We have a stack that's a display of flex that's telling us whatever's inside of it, put space between of it, right? So it kind of takes this as the left side and this as the right side. But what I'll do is I'll put a stack and then put that in there. And for the right side as well, I'll have its own stack as well. So I'll just inside here, I'll just say right side, and this will be our left side. So save it. All right, so we have a left side now, we have a right side now, but we still have to do a couple things with this stack, right? Let's do a direction of row to put it side by side. All right, so it's side by side now. If you look at the background, it's side by side. Direction of row, align items, center, save, align items of center, and then maybe some styles. We'll see what styles we need. I'll have some spacing though. Spacing of 5. Alright, so the spacing should be 5 between the two. And for this tech as well, I want to do the same thing, right? So let me copy that. Let me copy that. And for the pulse text, that, save, and it is side by side. Now, I probably have to change the size of the text. So let's go into here. Let's do SX. Font size of maybe 6px. Okay, so that should be, I think that should be fine. And then let's just do a margin of right as well. So MR of 2. So space between these two. There we go. Or if you don't want to do this, you can just do this in the global one, as in the one, the parent one, and have some spacing of 2. So that should there'll be the same space between the two as well. All right. For this styles, I don't think we need any styles for now. I'll get rid of it for now. But we have the right side, we have the left side. That looks just similar to this as well. Maybe the color of the text. So because the color has to be applied to both of these, I'll do it on the parents container. So inside this tag, let's do some styles in here, right? I'm going to say color equals to primary dot lights, and we created the color, so it became primary dot lights. Also, this font is slightly smaller. It's 14px and ours is 16, so let's change that. So variant of body 2, save. Let's see what we get, and maybe some spacing as well between it. So sx, let's do some letter spacing of 3px. I think that's the right one. All right, save, and there we go. Now let's just finish the left side. We don't come back to this later then. What you want to do is have that pulse effect, right? Wait, let me do that. So see how it's like light right now, it changes into dark and then comes back again. So let's actually do that. And to do that, we'll create a keyframe, which helps us like, I'll show you what it does, right? So let's create a new const, let's create resource. How do you spell resource? Is it S? Yeah. Resource keyframe. You can call it whatever you want. And let's import keyframes from Mature UI. So keyframes. And this is how you do it, right? This is the syntax. What you want to do in here is you want to tell it at the start when it's at 0%. Okay, at 0%, where's my percent sign? Percent, I want to do something. I want to have an opacity, so the text will be an opacity of full. So it's out of 1, right? Opacity of full. And then maybe around like 50%. Change it to opacity of 0.4. Let's copy that. Opacity of maybe until go all the way low to like 0.4. But at 100% again, at 100%, do an opacity. Actually, my typing is terrible today. Opacity of back 1. I'll do 60% instead. You can play around with this number. Okay, so that's our keyframe. And back down, right? What you want to do is inside the animation. So right there, I want to animate all of this, right? Everything inside of it. So I'll just do it inside the parents. Inside the animation, I'll do animation. Okay, and then use that. I'll use the keyframe, and then I'll say how long should it take. Let's do 1 second. And then we want to animate it infinitely, so not just one time. Infinite, and then it should be easy, so it should be like slow and steady. This is too quick, right? So let's change the time to maybe 3 seconds. All right. I like this one. Yeah, I like this one. It's almost the same. Yep, almost the same. I also feel the navbar has a padding on top as well, an extra padding, and to the left as well. So we'll add both of those. Yeah, let's finish the navbar and then we'll add both of those. All right, so that's the left side done. Let's do the right side now. I hope the left side, that's it, right? Where do I open it? Okay, so for the right side, I will, let me think, right? Okay, so for this tech now, again, it should be side by side. So direction of row, let's start from there. Direction of row, align items to center. What else? Let's have a spacing between each button of 3. And let's save for now. And then let's actually create a menu button component. So inside the components, I'll do one folder called buttons, and we can have many different kind of buttons in there. Buttons, and inside of it, I'll just do this. Menu button.tsx, rfce, menu button, save. And also, if you take a look at this, right? This is going to be kind of like a main button that repeats here and there as well. So I'll just create a component called main button, right? And add that as well. So buttons, new button, main button.tsx, rfce, oops, main button, save, and let's bring this in there. Inside the nav, I'll just create a mobile, a desktop version. You can do the mobile version yourself. Just look at the Mature UI docs. You can add the mobile version. Well, I'll just do a desktop version. So I won't create the mobile menu that opens as well. So let's minimize this for now. Okay. For the right side, let's do a couple of them. So I'll create a menu button. Menu button. Okay, right now it doesn't have any children. So markets is the first one. Look at the background. Markets is the first one. Players, then developers, and then backers. So let's put all of them. So backers, players, and then for the developers, remember it's not just a button, it's something more than that, right? So it's a text with the icon as well. So back to our stack again. So stack, let me wait. Stack, and then inside of it, the first one will be the text. So let's just do a typography of developers, right? And then the icon. So let's find the icon. So I'm going to say arrow. Let's find the down arrow. This one right there works. Import it. And let me minimize that as well. Let me minimize some of the stuff we don't need again. Okay. Oops. It's keyboard down icon. Alright, so for the menu button, we'll get an error because it does not take in anything. We'll have to fix the types, right? Let's go and like style our menu button for now. I'm not gonna save this one, but I think there's one more actually. There's trade, which will be our main button now, right? So main button trade. Alright, I'm not gonna save it because all of them will give us an error, but let's actually go and fix this. Let's go into menu button first. And for the menu button, I'm going to say just react.fc, and then basically that will allow us to use children. So these are the default React props. Inside of it, let's do a button. We'll have to import it from Material UI. So import button from Material UI. All right, button, and then let's just do children in here. Save it for now. Hopefully this shouldn't give us all right, so here's the error, right? The button, we have to give it a prop type as well, right? So we'll do button props, which comes from Material UI. Button props, let's import that. So basically that will tell it, oh no, wait, what? Not that. Okay, that's it. So basically that will allow us like, that will give us the type telling us that yeah, button does take in a children as well, right? Save that. Hopefully that should be gone. Let me comment this out, save it, and let's see what we get for now. Let me go back here. We do have a couple buttons. I hope they're the same size. Maybe not. We'll fix the size, I guess. Yeah, fix the styles, but let's actually fix this and make it side by side. So go back here. Stack direction equals to row, align items equals to center. Okay, yeah, that's side by side. Let's just fix some of the stylings of this and we'll come back here. But if I get rid of that, yeah, okay. So stack has to take in an element inside of it. It actually doesn't. Wait. I know the error. It's the align items. I was wondering. Okay, align items and no errors now. Come on. All right, there we go. So that's fixed. We might just have to change the button style for that one. Let's do it already. So font size small SX. Let's add a margin to the left of it. So ML, maybe a small margin, 0.5. All right, I think this looks almost like that one. Just let's fix the color and the size as well. So let's go back to our menu button and let's fix the styles in there, right? SX. Let's bring in the theme. So theme, and then inside of it, let's do some font size, make it 14. Okay, and then the color will be text.secondary. Remember, all of this is already there in our styles. Cursor, no wait, it's already a cursor pointer by default. Let's have some letter spacing of 2px. Save. Let's see what we get for now. All right, almost there, almost there. On hover, now this is where it's interesting, right? When you hover, we want that effect. You can right click, inspect elements, and then see what style to use. I copied it already, so I'll be using that on my code. But I think the font size 16 makes more sense, right? Yeah, this is more like it now. Maybe more letter spacing as well. So 3px. Okay, I think that's a lot more like it. Yeah, that's a lot more like it now. Yep. All right, let's do the hover effect, right? So go back here. Wait, let's see. And when we hover, what do you want to do? Want to change a couple things. Want to change the BG color. First of all, there's a default background color if you notice, right? On like Material US buttons, we're just going to make it transparent, right? So transparent, we don't want to use that. But then we're going to do something else. So color, let's make it slightly brighter. So text.primary, save. Let's see what we get for now. So notice when you hover, like the color changes. And let's just bring in that filter as well. So filter, and this filter right here is, I'm going to copy it from their website. It's always good to add all of this to the theme, just because like you usually want to use this in more than one place, so it's always good to do that, but I'll just keep it in here. Let's go back here, and there we go. So that filter works now, right? So this works, that filter works, and finally we want to do the last button. So I actually don't need this theme anymore, right? I don't need this theme, so I can just get rid of all of that. Right button. So the menu button is done. Let's go to a main button and style our main button now. So close that. Similar thing in here as well. React.fc. We might need the button props again. Why does it do that? Let me import some of this stuff as well. Oh wait, where's the other button? Let me uncomment this. Let me go back into this button, so I don't have to type all of this in. Import. Holy, what just happened here? Okay, I'm not sure what just happened. Okay. Let's call this button. Yeah, we're using the button. My VS Code is really slow right now. I'm not sure why, but button again. Oops. Children. Let's bring in the children from the props as well. Children, and let's style this button now. So first of all, let's save it. Let's go back here, save this, see what we get. So we have the trade button. Kind of style it a bit more, right? So go back to the, not this button right there. So SX, do we need the theme? I'll see. So let's do something. BG color. Again, it's always good to have all of this in the theme, but just to make this video slightly quicker, to actually have this color in the theme, let's see. Where's my theme? Config theme. If I search that, no, I do not have it. Maybe, let's just do something. Let me do dark inside the primary and have it as that color. This primary, I'll do it inside the secondary actually. Yeah. Secondary.dark, and then so basically I'll just do this right there. So secondary.dark, save. We should have a background color. No? BG color secondary.dark, save. Okay, so we have the background color now. So let's finish the rest of the styles, right? So border 1px solid. I want to bring in that same color as well. So let me import theme. theme.palette.secondary.dark. All right, border same color. Let's make the border radius as 2px, or no, 8px, which is 2 material UI. 1 for border, it's 4 times 2, which is 8px. Let's have some spacing as well. So padding x equals to 20px. Padding y is equal to 6px. Okay, and then we might just take in something as well. So maybe we can take in maybe some more styles. Okay, and then we can pass in the remaining styles. And then also one more thing is, because we have different variants for the color, this one is small, this one is like maybe normal, so we might want to like take account of that as well, right? So by default size should be normal, no, not small, normal. And then we want to do something, right? So we want to change the font size. So if the font size, what is this error? 1 second. Okay, let me import theme here. So const theme is equal to use theme from MUI material, and then I don't need to do this. Okay, this should work. But font size, let's go back here. So we're going to say if the size is equal to small, okay, do 14 or else do 16. All right, so for now this should be fine. What else do we need? We need the font's weight to be bold as well. Font weight to be bold. And finally, I think all we're remaining is the hover effect. So similar font weight as the other ones. Maybe let's do some letter spacing as well. So letter spacing as 3px. Does this one have a letter? Yeah, it kind of does, but not that much. So let me do maybe 1.5px. Slightly lower. Maybe more like it now. Yeah. All right. Finally, in here, I want to make sure in the navbar the size equals to small. Right, so we use a smaller font size. Yeah, same font size, and let's just fix the hover effect now. Let's go back here, main button, and finally, when we want to hover, so again, and when we hover, let's do a couple things. So change the BG color to slightly different. Because remember, when you hover, Material UI has a background color as well, right? You don't want that. So let's just change the BG color to the exact same thing. Let me add a comma there. But also a couple things, right? So filter again. Make sure this one is in your theme, right? So filter, paste that in. This comes from the website officially. But finally, and then the border. Let me do 1px. Solid. Let's do a different color. 3b, 2c, 3, 4. Let's change the color as well. So color of the text would change to primary.main. Save, and let's see what we got. All right, so there we go. It's pretty much the same. I guess our color is primary.main, so we don't need to do that, but it's pretty much the same. Almost, maybe the size of the button. So this isn't needed. Alright, so just for the size of this one right there, we're going to give it a custom size. So go back into the props. Navbar. In there, SX height to 32. Save. Alright, go back here, and that's almost there. It's just not aligned to the center. So it's align items. Center, and everything should be aligned in a second. There we go. So everything is aligned. So yeah, that's all for navbar. We actually have to fix the mobile version, because if you're going to mobile, I don't want it to do that. I actually just want to have a menu button, right? So similar to this, for example, in mobile, I just wanted to have a menu button. That's it. And that's all I'll do. I won't do the inside menu, just the menu button is enough. So let's find the menu icon first. Menu. Copy that. So we have the main button done. We have the menu button done. Let's import that in. And I'm going to do something in here, right, to check if it's menu. So if it's a mobile, sorry. So const theme is equal to use theme. Actually, don't even need to do that. You know, there's another trick. There's a component called hidden. Okay, so for the right side, I want it to be hidden. Come on, close it. So I want it to be hidden on SM down. So when we're on a smaller screen and down, hide everything in here. And similarly, let's do another hidden. We want this to be hidden on MD up, right? And in here, all I'm going to do is a simple stack. Okay, direction equals to row, align items equals to center. Hopefully no errors. All right, and inside of it, let's do a couple things. So typography, I'll have menu in there. Variants of body 2. Actually, I don't need that. Menu and just a menu icon. Okay, I'll do add some spacing as well. So spacing of 2. Save. Let's go back here. And when I'm on a smaller screen, that's fine. I guess this is the smallest screen of one really gets to. Yeah. And then once I reach a bigger screen, actually let's do one extra bigger. So wait, so this should be MD down. Let me refresh. Okay, so that's fine. And when you go bigger, yeah, there we go. That's perfect. Right, so there we go. We have our responsiveness as well. And that's it. Maybe let's lower the spacing on the mobile side for the left side of it. So left side, spacing 5. So let me do something on XS, make it 2. And then on MD, make it 5. Right? So it's going to be closer on smaller screen. And then once we go to that bigger screen, it's going to increase the spacing there as well. And there I think it took a while for the navigation bar, but yeah, it's all working. And next thing we're going to do is the footer. Right, the footer should be fairly simple as well. On the official website of Voltz, remember the footer is always sticky to the bottom as well. So we want to do the same thing as the nav bar, but instead of top, we want to make it bottom. Right? So let's go back here. We'll use the same app bar. Inside the footer, make sure the elevation is equal to 0. And then that did not work properly. Elevation 0. And let's just style a couple things, right? So actually, let's see if that actually shows up. I will do something. SX, let's make it bottom of 0. Save that. Hopefully no errors. And then let's see if that worked. No, that didn't go to the bottom. So let me do a couple things. Let's make the top as auto. Go back here. Yeah, so now so basically top auto pushes it all the way down. But if you go back here, right? If you take a look, on a smaller screen, it's not sticky, but on a bigger screen, it's sticky, right? So we want to do that here as well. So let me import const theme is equal to use theme. You can do theme in here or import theme directly from the SX. But theme, and then I'm going to do a couple things right here, right? There's a background color as well. So let's do bg color as background dot default to not have its own color, not have that color, but have it as the same background color. Save, and there we go. The background is default, and it's always sticky when we scroll, right? One thing that I want to do is theme dot breakpoint. Come on, give me the suggestion. Breakpoints dot up. So when we're on a smaller screen and higher, an extra small screen is mobile, right? But when we're on a smaller screen and higher, let's make the position as sticky. All right. Cool, cool, cool. No, wait. That's fixed, my bad. So, um, so why is it still, wait, if I go into mobile, that shouldn't be there. Let me take a look quickly. Let me change its position to relative, maybe. Okay. So when it's relative, it's not on mobile. But when we go to a bigger screen, 1 second. Okay, so position of relative on a mobile by default, but when we're on a bigger screen, change it to a position of fixed. All right, that makes a lot more sense, I think. So let's refresh. Hopefully this works. Okay, so we see the footer down there, and when we go on mobile, it shouldn't be there. There we go. So mobile shouldn't be there on a bigger screen, it should always be there. So I guess on mobile, when you scroll all the way to the bottom is when you'll see it. There we go. And for a bigger screen, that's it. So let's just finally, simple, let's just add the items to stack. Remember, we have a left side and a right side, so similar to the nav bar, right side, and then again, for the left side, I'll say direction of row, and then align items center. Then we might change some stuff later. We'll need some spacing as well, just in case if it goes too close. Let's have some px. First of all, yeah, let's have some spacing to the left and right. So padding of x of 3 and py of a small padding y, maybe 0.3. Cool. And all we want to do is, okay, another stack again. And inside of it, let's do the menu button. Menu button, Discord. Let's import a couple. Twitter and Studio. Twitter and Studio. Let's see if we get that. Alright, so Discord, Twitter, Studio. We want Discord, Twitter, Studio. Let's make it a direction of row and align to the center again. Actually, this time, let's do something different. Direction. Oops. Okay, so when we're on a smaller screen, make it column. And when we're on a bigger screen, so maybe like from SM above, make it row. So we want the same exact thing for the right side. So copy, paste. For the right side, what are the 3 buttons? It's lights, paper, T and C's, and jobs. Okay, so light paper, T and C's. Is it just that? And jobs. Save. All right, perfect. We have, wait, no, that's not the real one. Okay, we want to justify the content on the other one. So just justify content. No, flex. No, space between, my bad. Space between, save, and that should work. And if you go into mobile, let's make sure it works on mobile as well. Go down. Yeah, we do have it on mobile as well. I might just make it a bit closer as well. So what I'll do is I'll set this, right? So when we're on a mobile and SM do something else. When we're on a mobile, just justify to the center. All right, there we go. Mobile center, and when we're on a bigger screen, yeah, mobile center, when we're on a bigger screen, do that. So maybe just to make it look better, space evenly. So on a mobile, I think that was too close. But yeah, this is better. So now there's an equal space on the left, middle, and right. I like this more. All right, there you go. So yeah, that's it for the footer. And it works perfectly. All right, now we'll be creating this section right here where instead of the Voltz data, we'll be fetching the real-time crypto prices from the CoinGecko API. And let's go into the code. Close everything that we have for now. Let's go into section 1. And inside section 1, I will be using a paper. which basically will give us this slight background. We can set the background as well. I'll be using a paper. I'll get rid of the max height or the height in there. And let's actually just see what we have for now. All right, so section 1, that's the paper that we have, right? Let's give it the marquee, which was the React Fast marquee. Let's import that and use it. So just open and see how it works. They do not have an example, I guess. Okay, there we go. So import the marquee from there, and let's import the marquee, add the marquee here as well. So now the way it works is anything that's inside of it will be like scrolling, right? So if you take a look at that, that's the text we just added and that's scrolling. We'll add some effects to get rid of the gradient, to increase the speed, to have more data, but for now, let's actually fetch the real-time crypto prices. So const endpoints, just the link is equal to, let me copy that, copy paste, and basically what I'm using is this one right here. So coin/markets, and you can get like all the top crypto prices based on which currency provided. So USD, EUR, JPY, will be doing USD. So currency USD, get the coins, get the market, and inside the use effect will fetch it. So let's also create a state, by the way. So coins set coins is equal to use state. For now an empty array initially, and then use effect, right? So no dependencies. So when we first enter this component, it will fetch it. So let's do a fetch. We want to fetch the endpoint URL, and then .then we'll get a response back. Let's console log it and see what we have. Console.log response. All right, so response.ok. So yeah, that works. So what we'll say is, I'll do this, right? So if response.ok, and let's return back a response.json. Actually, yeah. So if the response is okay, let's convert it to a JSON and return it back. And we'll do a .then again to get the data, which we just returned back. Console.log data. Let's see what we get now. There we go. So we have all the prices, and this data basically gives us a couple of things. The all-time high change, probably 24-hour change as well. We might use some of that. The current price, the image, the logo of the coin as well, the name of the coin. We'll be using some of this, and let's see what we got now, right? So I don't want to use all 100. I'll probably split it into 20 or so. So let's do this, right? So const, I'll create a temporary variable called data is equal to data dot slice, and then let's slice it from 0 to 20. And if there is no data, let's just give it an empty array just in case. So then set coins data. Cool. So set coins data. So now coin should have something, and we already fetch it. So let's actually create a marquee now. So inside of here, I'll do something, right? So coins.map, I'll get an individual coin. What do I want? I'll do a direct return. So direct return of a stack, import that. Let's go. What we want to stack, the first item will be the icon, and then the name, probably two other things, maybe like the price change and the current price. We'll do that. So inside of it, let me do some styles. SX, let's have some padding, some margin to the left and right, so around 1.5, and then padding up and down, so 0.5, right? We have to give it a key. So remember, we do get an ID, which is going to be a unique ID. So let's give that the key. So key is equal to coin.id. Inside, okay, direction, we want it to be side by side. So direction equals to row. Align items to center. And maybe some spacing between the icon and the text and stuff inside of it. So spacing is equal to 1. We will fix this TypeScript error. We'll create an interface for it, but let's continue with the data inside of it. So next, avatar, which is basically kind of like an image that Material gives us a rounded image, and we'll give it a source of coin.image, a height and width, so of 28, so height 20, width 20, right? So that's going to be the image first. Next is going to be the name. So let's go back. So a basic typography. Inside of it, just coin dot name. What else? Let me copy and paste this a couple times. So next will be the coin dot current price and a dollar sign before of it. Let's give this a different color of blue. So color equals info dot light. What else do we need? Let me save this and see what we get. All right, so we're almost there. So we have like the icon, the name, the price didn't change color. So let me see what's wrong there. But then, yeah, I think that's almost done, right? Oh, it's info.light. So that should change it to blue. So yeah, it does change it to blue. And finally, just the change, maybe like 24-hour change, right? So copy and paste this. And in here, it's price underscore change underscore percentage underscore 24-hour. Okay, so this will give us a 24-hour change. Let's make it two fixed 2, so not more than 2 decimal places, and let's add the percentage there. So percentage. Okay, save, and let's see what we get. So yeah, we get the current price and the percentage change. I'll change the color of the percentage based on whether it's positive or negative. So what we can do here is, so let me get rid of this color, SX. We'll set color, and then if this is maybe like above or equal to 0, wait, what happened? Okay, so if that is above or equal to 0, let's give it a color, or else let's give it another color, right? So the first color, if it's positive, I'll give it a success.light, which is an inbuilt green color from Material UI. And if it's not, then error.light. All right, there we go. So if it's negative, it's going to be red. If it's positive, it's going to be green. And yeah, almost there. Let's get rid of this gradient and add some types as well. So go back here. How do I do the gradient? So basically, it's gradient. Yeah, gradient equals to false. All right, so that got rid of it. And maybe let's increase the speed as well. So speed equals to 50. All right, there we go. If it's too fast, let's make it 40. I kind of think it's too fast. 40. All right, perfect. And yeah, that's our scrolling marquee, which is similar to this. I think it should be a bit faster. It's okay. Yeah, similar to that. And perfect. Let me just fix the types, and then we'll go into the main section. So I'll create a type on interface, maybe interface. What a coin should be. And it should have an ID of string. Oh god, string. Let me just do that here as well. So it should be a coin, should be a type of coin and an array. So ID string, we're using an image as well, which is a string. What else? A name, which is a string. Current price. I think current price isn't a string. It's a number. Let me just double check. Yeah, it should be a number. So current price, number, and that should be a number as well. I think 24-hour change. Yeah, that's a number as well. So that should be a number as well. Save it, no errors, and we're good to go. Alright, I hope I don't have any console logs as well. Nope, so refresh. Perfect. Alright, so now let's finish up with this main section right there. Finally, we want to work on this section right there, which probably will take a bit more time than everything else, but it shouldn't be very bad as well. Yeah, we'll be creating this animation. Some of those neon boxes, what you might want to do is copy some of these colors. So if you select any neon box, for example, you might want to copy some of these colors. Just that one. We will actually work on the transform ourselves, but maybe just copy some of these colors to get, and the box shadow as well, just so we get the exact same UI or design, right? But let's go back to our code and close that. Let's go to section 2. Close that. I'm not sure what this is. We don't need this for now as well. We'll see. It's just good to have that open. But yeah, under section 2, I will use a container. Okay, it doesn't let me import again. So import container from MUI material. Cool. Let's give it some height and width. So I will say a height of 60 VH by default. So 60, kind of like 60% of your screen size. Margin bottom of 20. And you'll see the reason why I do that. And I'll actually import them as well. We might need this in a couple places. So const dim is equal to use dim. If I want to do it from MUI material, it's pretty much the same thing, but I'll do it from the same spot. Use theme. Okay. Let's go back to our app. So we get that section. Cool. So basically on a small screen, what I want to do is on a small screen, take a look at that. So on a small screen, I want to give this a smaller height of maybe 60% of the height of the screen. And on a bigger screen, maybe like almost like 80% or so, right? So let's do that. So I will say theme dot breakpoints dot up. So if you're on a small screen and higher, let's do the same thing. So maybe margin bottom of a bit more. I cannot see what's happening. So and the height of 80 VH. Cool. There we go. You might not see a difference, but there's slightly like a bigger height. All right. Now the content inside of it. So firstly, I will do the logo, the button, and this item right there. What we'll do is like have a stack, and align everything to the center. So stack again, I cannot import that, so let's do it right here. Stack. Let's give it a full height of its parent. So sx height equals to 100%. And then we want to move everything to the center. So align items center and justify content to the center. Save ABC. That did not wait. Height should be 100%. Save it, and that moves everything to the center. All right, so let's import the image. I will say import logo from again dash public. No, it's public dash logo full dot svg. Let me just make sure. So public logo dash full dot svg. Yep. We imported the logo. Let's add the image in there. So okay, image tag. Again, my auto imports aren't working. It's just annoying. Source logo alt logo, and then let's see if we can import that now. All right, and then maybe some styles. Style, take up the full width, but the max height should be so height 250 px, and then make sure to put the aspect ratio in. So object fit contain. Wait, it's not SX, it's style. All right, that's there. And then the next thing is that typography. So typography inside the text is, let me copy that. And then this will be the main button, like similar to that one, so we don't need to come back here. All right. Let me give it a variance of h5 and then some styles. So I'll move it to the top because this is the size of the image. I'll give it a negative margin. So MT to -10 and maybe some margin bottom as well of 5. And then finally, we'll just bring in the main button, import, and then the text was press for alpha. So press for alpha, save. That's fine. All right, that is almost like that. If not, looks good. Yeah, looks good. All right, so now comes the main shapes, right? So let's minimize this. I'll call this content, actually, content, and then I'll say neon objects, right? And I will create a separate component right here. So const neon, what do I call it? Just neon box maybe? Neon box. It will be react.fc, and then it will have a box prop. So box props is equal to function that's return something. So let's import the box props. All right, maybe some styles that we will give eventually. Inside of it, let's just call theme because I'm pretty sure we'll need theme again. Use theme and then return box. Let's import box, return box, and I'll just do ABC for now. All right, so that's our one box. That's perfect. Oh no. Okay, so let's actually style our box now, and then our box won't have any content inside of it, so we can use a self-closing tag. But let's actually style it. So SX, let's give it some styles, right? And all of the styles I took exactly from this box. So I'll copy and paste them in here, a few at a time. So, all right. So let me do a couple more. I haven't like used theme for a lot of this. So, all right. So margin top as 10. I'll minimize. I'll get rid of the margin top, and you'll see the difference. Position as absolute. I want it to be on the absolute position of this container right there. So the background container that you see, which is section 2, I want it to be absolute to it. We're giving it a border of 3px solid, just a black border with a color as well. So I'm not sure why this is separate, but we can just do that here. Border color, and then some box shadows. Let's bring some of this as well. All right, so some box shadows. Again, this is coming exactly from the styles of here, right? So if we take a look at this, it has a box shadow. So I just copied a few of this stuff, right? Some box shadows, a border image. So in CSS, you cannot have a border with multiple colors, right? It has to be one color. So we can use a border image to actually give it a different colors, right? So we're using a border image of a gradient from this color to this color, and then we're making some more changes. Will change basically is good for like giving it a smooth animation. So it tells our CSS that this property will change, right? So when we scroll down, some of this property will change. Maybe like the opacity will change and the transform as well. So oops, let me close that folder, by the way. Okay, so some of these properties. So take a look at this. The lower we scroll, it becomes lighter and lighter. The opacity decreases, so that will change. And also the transform, which is like basically like transforming the object to like a different position, right? So those two will change. We will have a transition. Again, this is to make it smooth as well. And a Z index of -1. So what we're saying is move it behind every other component. So if you take a look here, right? If you look at this item, this data, like let's go lower, right? If you hover over here, this data right here is above the behind box, right? So we're giving it a Z index of -1 to make the box go behind this item, just so the text will be selectable and won't be the other way around. But yeah, Z index of -1. I'll give it a few breakpoints of the theme sizes as well, so the box sizes. So when we're on like SM and up, give it a margin top. I'll just enable this right here. Give it a margin top just because like initially the box will start from right there and go lower, right? So it will look like something like this. So if I show you that, right, our box will look something like this. It will look right there. It will look something like that. So we're giving it a margin top, just for it to move like higher up, right? Go back here. Sorry, it's on the opposite end, so it will be higher up, and we're giving a margin top to like push it lower. So yeah, just some different heights and stuff. And finally, for whatever like styles we get back, let's bring it in as well. So that will be our neon box. Let's save it and see what we get. Why is it lower? Does not have a relative position. So let's go back here. We'll give it a box. So here's what happened right now, right? Because we gave this a position of absolute, it's taking an absolute position of its parent relative. So the parent relative will be the body tag, and we haven't had any like relative inside of it. So I just want to make section 2 as its relative parent, or yeah. So what do I do? What do I do? Okay, so SX position relative, and I will leave one thing for now, right? So let's go back here. Okay, that didn't work again. So SX position of relative, we're adding section 1 and section 2 inside of it. That's fine. When we're going to section 2, position absolute, that does not look right. So we have a position of absolute, so that should be relative to that. Alright, maybe it should be centered. Wait, okay, I think I know why. So it should be inside the stack because everything inside the stack is centered. There we go, perfect. So we have like 3 boxes, 1 box for now. If you take a look at this code right here, right? So if you select that first box right there, we can give it a transform, copy it, and then let's paste it in here. Just for now, temporary. So transform, save. There we go. And we get that exact same effect as this one, right? So all we'll do now is create a hook for like to listen to how much we've scrolled. Like we're going to create an event listener hook that listens to how much we've scrolled, and based on that, it will update the value. So if you look at this one right here, right? Initially, if you look right there, right? Initially, it's like minus 163 degrees, right? And the more you scroll, that changes, right? And so does the scale 3D. So we're going to change each of that based on how much you've scrolled. And we're going to have a formula for each of this, similar formula for each of this on how much you have scrolled, right? So let's go ahead and create the hook. Actually, I'll just create 3 boxes for now. 1, 2, 3. It won't look much different because they'll be on top of each other. But let's actually create the use scroll position hook and add the styles to this. Alright, so the final step, so let's create a scroll position hook and then implement the animation on the boxes. So to do so, I'll just Google it. There's so many hooks they can get from Google, so let's search for use scroll position hook. We'll take the first one and adjust it a bit. So basically the way this works is, let's actually write it down and then I'll explain it. So go to your code, And then inside the hooks folder, create a new hook called use scroll position.ts. Right? Let's paste this inside of it and import a couple things. So import use state, import use effect. Wait. Okay, so import use state from React, and let's do the same with use effects as well. And just to quickly explain, let's comment this out, right? So initially the state will be the Y position will be 0, right? So this is like the offset from the top of the screen. So initially we'll set it to 0, and then we'll create a reuse effect with a listener, a window listener, and this listens for like a scroll position, right? And what happens in here is we're saying window.add event listener. We're listening to the scroll events. There's different events they can listen to, for example, a click event and so on, but we're listening to a scroll event and we're passing in a function. So every time it scrolls, we're giving it a callback function to run this function, right? And this function basically sets the scroll position, which is our state, to the window.offset of the Y. So the distance from the top of the browser to where you are at the current position in the screen. And this function runs when it scrolls. So initially when the page is just loaded, we haven't scrolled yet. So we're running the function one time, just so it runs this function as well, just in case, like when the page is loaded and we're not at the top, so it updates it. And finally, once we come out of the component, or once we unmount, all we're doing is returning this function where we're removing the event listener. And the reason we do that is we don't want, like, it's for performances, and we don't want to keep listening for this event throughout your application, right? So this is a basic scroll position. I will make one change though, which is again an inbuilt window function called request animation frame, and I will take a function inside of it and we'll do that. We'll move that inside. And all this does here is it allows us to create like smoother animations. So think about it, right? Initially when you're, let's say like when you're at the top, right? Your scroll position is 0. If I'm using a mouse and I scroll one time with my mouse, it might change it to 10 or 15 maybe. It won't go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3. That might be like 10 pixels from the top. And that will not give us a smooth animation, as this distance will go directly, will jump like frames. It will jump from 0 to 10, right? So we use this function to give us a smoother animation, and it's also good for performance as well. And let's save that. Let's import it back into our component. So at the top, const scroll position, scroll position is equal to use scroll position. Hope that imported correctly. Yep. Yeah, and I'm just going to console log it to show you what happens exactly. So scroll position. All right. So right now it's 0. When I scroll down, you see it increases, right? 0, and it increases the more I scroll. I will create a section 3 just so we can have a demo scroll, a longer one. So section 3.tsx rafce, and then let's give it a box, and sx height 100 vh. Save it, and inside the index I'll just bring in the section 3 here as well. Alright, so this way we'll be able to scroll a lot more just for demo purposes. But if you go back here and in our console, you can see like the more we scroll, the more that number increases. It's the pixels from the top of the screen, right? From the top of the web browser. So anyway, let's close section 3. We can close the use scroll position as well. Go back to section 2. Let's get rid of the console log and actually implement our animation. So let's start with the first box, right? And remember, in our neon box component, we can take in styles. And all we'll do is I'll get rid of this transform, because that was again like for demo. I'll get rid of that transform, but we'll pass that transform in from the styles. Remember, there's two stuff that changes. One is the transform and one is the opacity. So both of those will come in from the prop styles, right? So let's go back here. We'll say SX, and depending on the scroll position, right? So first opacity, okay, I'll do something. So I'll say 1 minus scroll position divide by 600. Oops. All right, hopefully that doesn't break it. Let's save it, and let's go back into a web browser, and let me comment the other two out actually. Comment this out, so we just have one box. And notice this, the more we scroll, the more transparent the box will become, right? So that works. We'll do that for all of them. And again, this formula is something that I just figured out. I asked ChatGPT for it actually, but yeah, 600 is like you can increase the number. So if you set it to maybe like 400, it will become lesser. So if I set it to 100, for example, it will take like the once I scroll like maybe 100 pixels around that much, it will become transparent really quick. So I set it to 600. That's the best number I could find. That's the first style. The second style is a transform, where we'll actually rotate the box and make it bigger as well. So transform, and then let's do that. So I'll copy the first style from here. Let's select the first box. Let's select the transform, copy. All right, and we'll have to change a couple things. If you notice right here, there's about a couple things that changes. One is a scale 3D, right? One is a scale 3D, and one is the rotate Z, right? Those are the two things that changes, and the opacity that we already worked on. So let's actually work on that based on our scroll position. So for the scale 3D, it's again the first and second parameter, not the third one that changes. So for the first and second, let's do that. So let's do that in here. It will be similar for both of them, so I'll do it on both sides, right? So in here, I will give it this one right here. So I will say 0.0065 times scroll position plus 1, right? And again, this is something that I had to like calculate using I used ChatGPT initially for an example, and then you can just use the y equals mx plus c formula to see the how quickly it changes. So for example, let me explain it on Paint, right? So let's go here. Let's say we have a graph right there. Okay, this is our graph with a y and an x-axis, right? If you notice right here, when it's at 0, scale 3D equals to 1. So let's do this, right? So let me open Notepad actually. So when our scroll position is at 0, our scale 3D equals to 1. And then let's kind of like say something like this, for example, right? Let's give it, for example, like this, our scroll position is 100, for example. Our scale 3D equals to 1.882, right? So if our scroll y is at 100, our scroll position is at 1.855, whatever the number is, right? We can plug this formula in to ChatGPT. We can tell it if 0 equals 1 and 100 equals 1.8552, what is maybe like 500 equal, right? Equals to x, right? And this is a similar formula that you can use like from like basic IGCSE maths as well, where let's say like this is the y-axis. Let me use the pencil tool. So we have our 0 here, and let's say we have our 100 here, and we have our 500 up here, for example, right? We can draw a line. So for example, and our 1 will be right there, our 1 point, maybe our 2 is right there, and our 3 is right there, right? So what we're saying is when it's 0, okay, it starts from 1. The x-axis starts from 1, right? But once we reach 100, it reaches 1.8, which might be somewhere here, right? So this is what our line will look like. So based on that line, we can calculate what 500 will be as well. And yeah, that's the y equals mx plus c formula, or you can ask ChatGPT again. But let's close that and plug our formula back in. So I'll close this as well and go back here. In here, so let's save this and see what we get initially. Right, so we have that initial transform, and the more we'll scroll, the bigger the picture will become. But not just what happens, right? We have an overflow where like once it goes outside the screen, we get a scroll of the x-axis as well, and it keeps increasing and increasing. So to do that, let's just get rid of the, let's just say an overflow equals to overflow equals to hidden, since none of it won't overflow, right? So overflow equals to hidden, and that way we won't get that scroll bar. But go back to our section 2, and there's one more parameter that changes, which is the rotate, right? The rotate Z. So I will do that. I will do that again. And inside of it, this is the formula. So minus 0.18 times scroll position plus 17. Save it, and let's see what we get now. Oops, that did not work. Let's see what's wrong. So let's go back here. Oh, we forgot to mention the degrees. So DEG, save, and hopefully that should work. There we go. So this is very similar to this right there, where like once this is the initial size, once you scroll down, it rotates anti-clockwise depending on which box it is, and it also becomes bigger as well. And it's the same thing here as well. So let's finish up the next two boxes as well. So neon box 2 and 3. I will copy the styles. You can copy it back here. All right, and for the second box, we'll paste this in. Similar thing again. There's only a few different stuff that was initially changed, but same formulas again. And for the last box, there's one extra parameter that I got from the styles. Actually, one or two extra styles, which is the border image and the border color. So what basically changed here is two boxes are very similar. The first and the last box are very similar in color, where it's just like rotated, where like the pink is on the right side and blue is on the left side. And for the first one, it's just like rotated 180 degrees, where it's on the opposite ends. But for the second box, the middle one, the color is different as well. So I just added those two colors as well. Let's save it and see what we get now. And there we go. Kind of similar, maybe not, I don't know, but we can always change it. So that's our box. Let me refresh. There's actually one style that's a bit different, and let's go and fix that, which is from the first box. It's not minus 0.18. It's actually, that's the formula, and yeah, it's that one. So let's see if that imitates it, and that imitates it like exactly, almost the same. Almost the same. If it's a bit different, just work on the formula and you'll get the right one, but that works perfectly. So yeah, that's it for the video. If you want the remaining sections with some of the animations as well, again, the code is in my description for the GitHub, and you can just work on that, or you can actually do it yourself and comment below on like how it is, and I'll check your project out. Thanks for watching.